Hello again, everybody. This is Aaron. I'm back with my How to Draw series. This is going to be How to Draw episode 12, How to Draw Legs part 2. Legs are pretty complicated. I was going to end up doing a male leg version and a female leg version, but they're so similar that I just decided to do two videos about legs, two parts, just to get us started. Okay, so I can't see what I'm writing on the screen. So what I didn't go over last video was I didn't go over the knee at all. And this is a little bit more advanced than I wanted to get into in this video series, but it's alright. Right here what I'm doing is I'm drawing I'm drawing some examples of what the knee bones look like in the knee joint, because I wanted to give an example of what you actually see underneath. So this is the front view of the knee joint and then the kneecap. Again, it's a little bit more advanced than I wanted to get into, but I just wanted to show you the knee joint. So this is where the leg bends, obviously. And I'm writing here, the kneecap is shaped kind of like a guitar pick. It's like an upside down triangle shape. So, I mean, you don't have to get this detailed in your beginner figure drawings, but this is what the knee joint actually looks like. And then, the tendons attached to it on the top and the bottom. So you got your femur, your tibia, and then your fibula. But again, I'm drawing this as an example. So I'm just going to draw quickly the front, the side, and then I'm going to draw the front, the side, the rear, and then the side. So this is just an example of what the knee joint actually looks like. And then there's the tendon that's attached to the kneecap. And here is the same joint from the side view. Or, I'm sorry, this is from the rear view. I apologize, this is from the rear view. So this is a rear view of the same bone. It's turned around. And okay, now we're doing the side view of what the kneecap looks like. So the kneecap really is kind of like a triangular bone. And then what I'm going to draw right there, there's this little protrusion of bone that you see on like everyone's leg, almost everybody's legs. And I don't know the name for that bony protrusion, but it's there on almost everybody, and it shows up for sure. Okay, so here's basically an example of the knee joint, front, side, and rear. I just thought it would be good to show you what it actually looks like. And so what you can do to simplify the kneecap is basically just draw the upside down triangle shape that I drew there. And here what I'm doing is I'm drawing a zoomed in view of a kneecap and an upper thigh, like a lower thigh. Kind of what it would look like in a zoomed in position. Because I actually totally forgot to go over the knee in the other video, so we'll just cover it real quick. I'm such a perfectionist. I have to make sure every line is perfect. And that's just how I am. I don't know. I think it's okay to be hard on yourself, but don't be too hard on yourself. Okay, so I'm just saying the kneecap can be drawn as an upside down triangular shape, like what I have there. And really, you don't even need to draw every line to outline. You don't need to outline it. All you need to do is suggest that it's there, because you can't really see it. You can't really see a lot of it under this. You can't really see the whole thing anyway. So you just need to suggest the shape of it, but you do need to know where it goes and make sure you draw it on your legs, because they do show up on both men and women. So, and the protrusion of the kneecap actually changes as soon as you change the angle. Like if you turn the leg or something, it'll look completely different. So it's like everything else in the human body. As soon as you change the angle, it looks completely different, and it has to be drawn a completely different way. But there's a zoomed in view of the kneecap, and here what I'm doing is I'm just drawing the very simple shape of like that guitar pick shape, and I just drew it twice to show you that all you really need to do is something like that. So here we're just gonna go into some more leg drawing, just some more leg examples. Okay, so I'm just saying, now that we know what the knee looks like, we can draw it better later on. So, okay, so now what I'm doing is, and you can follow along with these examples, I'm just making up some examples of leg positions in my head, and trying my best to basically display what I'm seeing in my head on the page. Again, I need more practice with this, and I think everyone needs more practice with. We gotta try to put what's in our head on the page, and that's a struggle for a lot of people, and not everybody can do it, and I'm really not that great at it, but that's what I'm doing in these lessons. Basically, is I'm making these up. If you'll see me start struggling, it's because I don't have a reference in front of me. So I'm basically making these up and just showing you my own examples. So here I said I like to draw the front. Oh, I like to draw the foot. That's what I said. I like to draw the foot before I draw the leg for some reason, or before I finish it. Like I'll do the stick figure view of the leg like I did, and then I'll put in the foot, and then I'll draw the rest of the leg. We're not going to get into feet today. We will get into feet in just a little while. But I don't know why I do that. I draw the foot, and then I place the rest of the leg on the stick figure. I don't know why I just draw the foot first. Maybe it helps me draw the rest of it. I don't know. But that's how I do it. That's how I've always done it. Like I said, you can pause the video and copy these examples if you want to, but I'm just making these up out of my head. These aren't, not looking at pictures or anything. So here what I'm really doing is I'm really trying to think about what the leg would look like if it was completely bent. The front leg was completely bent to the buttocks, and what would it look like? So you can see me struggling here a little bit, But again, pause the video and you can follow along. By this point in the videos in this series, you should be able to lay these out fairly easily if you've been practicing. But you see why I do stick figures for legs? Because it's so much easier to get your legs in position by doing this than it is to just try to draw the leg without any structure underneath it. This is exactly why I do these stick figures. This is the easiest way for me to do it. So here I've got, a figure kind of falling on the ground and the legs going forward. I wanted to try to do something a little bit more challenging. I'm moving the foot, putting it more in the center of the leg, or trying to at least. Okay, so as you saw me drawing those legs kind of flailing forward, really what happened, in all honesty, is I started struggling with it, and I said, all right, I'll come back to it. So what I'm doing now is I'm fleshing out this example just to show you. And what I'm doing here is I left that kneecap area out to show you that when you draw that section of the leg, it's very bony, so you got to make sure you show the bones that are underneath. So here I'm just giving you the steps here. Draw your stick figure, sketch in the cylinder shapes, add your knee joint. I always, even when I draw legs, I always add the knee last. Like I draw the upper leg and the lower leg, and then I add the knee later. I don't know. I just think that's a better way to do it for me. Because it kind of gets everything in position, and then you can decide where exactly you want the knee to go. Oh, and then the last step, obviously, is refine your lines and your shapes, which is what I'm doing here. So if you see, we placed that kneecap in there, and I'm making sure to indicate some of that shape. We don't have to do the whole thing, but you want to make it known that, yeah, there is a kneecap kind of protruding out a little bit. Again, you don't have to draw every single line. But here I'm just kind of getting it cleaned up a little. And so what I did there, what I noticed was that bottom leg to me was looking a little odd. I'm like, why does it look so strange? And then I realized that I forgot to curve. I forgot to add a little bit of curve to the bottom leg. Remember how I showed you in the previous video that the leg actually has curve to it? It's not straight, and it looked really odd. And so I remembered that, and I realized that, and I fixed it. So even I forget how to draw something. Even after I teach it, I still forget how to do it. So that's what happened. Is I was looking at that leg. I'm like, why does this look so odd? And I realized it's because I didn't taper that bottom of the lower leg like it's supposed to be tapered off, or curved in, or tapered off. And so now here I'm remembering, okay, I got to curve the lower leg to make it look more realistic and not so much like just a stick that doesn't have any movement or anything. Here I'm just saying, remember to keep, I don't know what I said, I can't read it. Oh, it says remember to keep giving your lines a slight curve, which is what we were just talking about. It's as you can see there, it's so easy to forget that, and then as soon as you don't do that, it looks totally odd and it looks wrong. And so you got to remember to give your lines that line of beauty curve, because the bones actually curve. They're not perfectly straight. So here I'm drawing the other lower leg. And I think this foot is actually too small. Probably should be a little bigger. But it's fine for the example, I guess. But it's probably a little too small. It looks a little too small for the size of that leg. So here I'm just drawing that view where the upper leg is completely pressed against the lower leg, which I have trouble with views like this, where one part of the leg is completely obscured, and you kind of have to make up, like, what does it look like if it's like squished. And so I was really thinking about what would the calf look like if it was pressed against that leg really, really tight. Really, the calf muscle would be kind of squished outward. And there again, I forgot to curve the line again, so I went ahead and fixed it. And it's not just a matter of just curve the line. You have to kind of have an eye for what looks good, and it takes a while to understand. So if you can't get it on the first try, just keep doing it and keep looking at real pictures of legs, keep looking at references of legs, and pay attention to the way the bones curve. They have a curve. It's just, you wouldn't think they do, but they do. So here I'm just working on the leg structure of the legs that are kind of falling forward. I kind of imagine this guy like laying flat on the ground, like he had face planted or something. And now that I'm looking at that first leg that I drew, that bottom calf should probably even be thicker than it is. The upper leg is pretty thick. The lower leg should be a little thicker. I don't know if I fixed that or not, but I'm noticing that now. Another thing about drawing, and we're going to get into this later. We're going to get into this not right away, but in a few more videos here. We're going to get into proportions. And if you notice, I keep talking in my videos about how, that's too small or that's too big. I got to change it. That's proportion. You have to learn what the right proportions are, and it takes forever it really takes a long time to kind of get a good handle on it. It takes a long time to figure out but just by looking at it, oh, that's off or that's wrong. Just by looking at it, you know it's wrong. Took me a long time to get there, but yeah, based on how thick that thigh is on that first example, the lower leg should be thicker. Really, the calf area probably could be a lot thicker, and then it could taper off. So here I'm just drawing that example of the legs kind of falling forward. I just thought it would be kind of a fun example. A little bit more challenging to draw. So this last page that we're doing is I'm going over a concept that actually I learned from Bern Hogarth in his book Dynamic Figure Drawing. This is the concept of width and thickness. The same applies for legs and arms, but really this is dealing with the legs. Basically, you want to be able to draw the legs, the cylinders of the legs, the same width as each other. They have to be the exact same width, otherwise they won't look right. And so what I'm doing here is I'm drawing some very simple shapes to show you what that looks like. What I'm trying to do here is I'm getting each shape exactly the same width as I can by, just by eyeballing it and measuring with my fingers. And then I'm going to show you how to apply that to some cylinders. So they're the same thickness, they're the same width. Here I'm drawing just a few more shapes. I'm trying to match exactly the width of the first one that I draw. It's hard to master it. That's why I think you should try this with just simple shapes and not complicated shapes or anything like that. So here I'm doing an example of like cylinders that are the same width. And now here I'm doing some curved cylinders to maybe represent like the cylinders of the upper legs. And you have to make sure they're the same width for them to look right. It's a very odd concept that I never knew until I read that in the Bern Hogarth book. Nobody had ever taught me that. Even in college, I never learned that. It's a little bit more of an advanced concept, but that's why I'm trying to show you in simple shapes. And then here what I'm drawing real quick is I'm drawing an example of what not to do. And I'm showing you how it looks wrong when you draw one leg thick and one leg really thin. And I'm going to say here, see how it looks off? It just looks wrong. This is what I see in a lot of beginner artwork is either the arms or the legs are not the right width and they're not the right size. Basically, they're not the same thickness, and so it can make it really look odd, and it's wrong. So practice these basic shapes of how to get shapes to be the exact same width. and it's basically it basically applies for legs and arms, but in the Bern Hogarth book that I have, it basically talked about that in relationship to the legs. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that in this video because I've never heard anyone teach that before, ever. And here I'm just trying to draw for you a basic example of an upper leg and a lower leg, trying to get the shape, trying to get the widths exactly the same. And that lower note that I wrote there, it's just basically saying when the widths are not the same, it really, really messes with the eye. And you don't understand why it's wrong, but you just know it's wrong. Oh, and that's what I'm writing here, actually. Our mind knows what something is supposed to look like. In this example, it would be the legs. So we have to draw it correctly. Because people that look at our art are going to know if it's wrong. They won't know why, but they'll know it's wrong. So anyway, that's going to do it for episode 12, How to Draw Legs, part 2. And I hope you got something out of this video. I hope you found value in it. I hope you come back for episode 13, which is going to be how to draw feet. So I'll see you soon.